What up everyone, Be More here with another Ghost Recon Breakpoint video. This week's video is going to be something I've avoided doing up until this point. That is, talking about how I want the game to be shaped. I think that as a person who critiques the game, that it's important to be objective when it comes to what the game really needs. I also do not like talking about things that might not actually be able to make it into the game or the scope of possibility, like anything that would take up too much development time. So with that said and that in mind, let's go ahead and talk about what this next update should be when it comes to PvP. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe as I make my way to 250 subscribers. I couldn't imagine having this many a couple months ago, but the support I had is overwhelming and I really appreciate it. Also, leave what you would like to see in the comment section below as far as PvP changes. Now that that is out of the way, let's dive right in. Fix stamina and movement speed. Well, this is pretty obvious. This will be what I sort of judge the PvP update on. This has been a problem since the beta, and outside of a couple of attempts to actually solve the issue, stamina still remains a problem. People have suggestions, but the easiest of them all would be to just standardize it. This would mean no more perks making stamina last longer than usual. Right now, it's usually too much running around, and no one uses cover anymore. While I have adapted to the gameplay and understand that the game is just overall faster, the amount of stamina you get from the judge pants is insane. Just a regular flat amount of stamina, something that needs to not have so many variables when it comes to the gameplay and combat. Stamina is one of those variables. Let's try to bring down the variables in combat so it's more about skill and less about perks and items. Speaking of perks, balance of perks. The balance of perks are all over the place, Revivalist and Burst Forth being the two biggest offenders in this category for PvP. The reason being is why choose anything else? Currently, stamina and being able to escape quickly from combat is a major factor in the PvP. So having Burst Forth is almost a requirement to recover your stamina in order to not get caught out in the open. We need to just adjust the perks and talk about perks that are useless. So I'm going to highlight some right here, but these just don't really see any real uses. The PvE and the PvP stuff is all just tied together in this jumbled mess. Part of the confusion when looking for perks is that they're not even organized into strictly PvP or PvE. I just keep Quick Hands, Burst Forth, and Revivalist, and as PvP goes, this is by far the best, and I frankly haven't changed my perks in a long time. I would love for other perks to be used like Close and Personal or just anything else team related, but unfortunately they are just not as impactful as the ones I mentioned before. Another request I have is to just add more perks. Currently the raid and the PvP, we've got best in slot perks, and there's just no reason for the other ones. Even when we have 7 different classes, any perks that could add an extra health bar or a flat no marking perk would do wonders for the meta change. Speaking of meta change, one thing I hope this update brings is a change in the meta. I would love to see slow RPM weapons and any other shotgun besides the Boss G make a comeback. I made a state of the game video back in February, and outside of the new maps, I would say the state of the game is pretty much the same. Some of the assault rifles and the MP7s are still king. Still, why would you use a shotgun when your enemy would just dies out of the way? Because slug speed and buckshot speed is just too random and too slow. Bullet speed overall needs adjustments and just a balanced pass in general. The weapons that were king in the beta, king on launch, king 3 months after launch, king after the first DLC, king still today. The weapons haven't changed. I would love to see LMGs make a comeback with a suppression mechanic. I would also love to see DMRs be used without the main advantage being some glitch they use to one-tap people when you hit them in the toe. It's just a shame. Breakpoint does have so many good weapons for PvP, but with how bullets are registering and at the speed at which they travel, and along with the speed that your enemy has, just makes most weapons absolutely useless to use anything with a low RPM. Make utility weapons better. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but yeah, can we make the rocket launcher good? Imagine loading up PvP for the first time, seeing you get a rocket launcher. You load it up, fire it directly at the person only to find out they basically took no damage. And not just that, they have to drop on your location and probably kill you. I am no video game expert, but when you fire a rocket launcher at someone, you expect to kill them. Especially a game that grounds itself in reality. So yeah, make the utility weapons and items on the map just overall better. A damage buff for the rocket launcher and longer flash duration for the flash grenades are some quick suggestions I have for the utility weapons. New maps, new modes. I said this in the state of the game back in February that we need more maps and more map variety. They did do a good job with the 3 new additions that we got with the last DLC, but once again, we cannot play every mode on every map. Why are they designing these maps with just one game mode in mind is beyond reason. We also need another objective-based game mode, like Hostage from Wildlands. More game modes make the maps feel less boring. Currently, both game modes are sort of played the same. One just has a stricter time limit to get to the objective. Sabotage is great, but the fact that you can just team wipe the other side most of the time just turns it into elimination. This will be my last suggestion, which would be a ranked mode. And I was afraid to even put this up here because I knew I was going to get some type of flame war in the comments, but I put this here for a reason. Once you fix all these problems, the bullet speed, the stamina, the weapon meta, I do think a rank mode would be perfect for year 2. Obviously tie some cosmetics and rewards behind the rank mode, but when this game is in perfect shape, I would love to see an emphasis on the competitive aspects of Ghost War. I think there is a small space for a competitive scene for this game, but I can't really take any tournaments or any of that stuff serious when we still have the engineer drone and the assault class remains unchecked and unbalanced. Anyway guys, like I said, I would love to see these things fixed in the next PvP update. Stamina, meta, bullet speed, perks, balance, class overall balance. I mean, there's a lot of things I would love to see, but I just don't want to waste anyone's time, so I really wanted to put down my most important things I would love to see change with this PvP update. And frankly, this is something that I hope is really put on the forefront of the developers because they really do need as much guidance to make this PvP the best that it can, and I'm trying to do my part while also trying not to get burned out on the game. Anyway guys, please leave your suggestions for what Ghost War really needs in the comments below, and until the next one guys, be more.